What's up? BigHerc916, positivity, motivation, never settle for average. You know, we do it over here. I received a lot of backlash because I sent my condolences to Charlie Kirk's family and I gave him a dedication video. And you don't have to like or agree with everything somebody says in order to give them their flowers. But as far as the values and morals, I think there was nothing wrong with what he stood for. And no one deserves to lose their life because they simply want to speak their truth. It's no different than a black person speaking their truth, an Asian person speaking their truth. You can't become an executioner and a judge of what speech is based on what you feel people should hear, or if you don't agree with something. That's when society has totally lost its way. And for somebody to be so upset, so disturbed, disgruntled, that they want to take a man's life because he's speaking out against certain topics he doesn't agree with, then we need to take a serious look at what we call America. And I get people sending me all kind of videos, and I'm just going to say it's all black people sending me videos about, DEI stuff, what he said about reparations, what he said about a black pilot, and all these different things as far as hiring, and he's a bigot and this and that. Look, man, I've heard black people say some of the most horrendous shit about other black people. I'ma kill you in. Oh, you a bitch. Oh, man, I'll boop bot this and that. Boop wop. Oh, man, my enemies, I'm a rider, my opposites. And I heard him say all this stuff. And people have lost their lives over it. But nobody cares. Nobody black cares because it's black on black. And the thing is, Charlie wasn't talking about killing anybody. He wasn't talking about taking nobody's life. He just speaking his opinion. Why can't you speak his opinion? People like, oh man, another sucker gone. He did what? You deserve to lose your life. So if you see somebody and they have a swastika on and they're walking around, you should automatically take their life. That's what was happening with the gang wars. You see a guy with red. What's up, cuz? Boom! Or what's up, blood? Boom! Take it. You don't even know the guy. He might even be a gang member. But this is what it's turning into. I mean, you guys don't see the wrong in this? You're talking, you're debating. That's what we do. We debate, we talk, we discuss. If we have a difference, if I don't convince you of my point or you don't convince me of your point, we don't have to kill each other. It's not about that, man. And then I get thrown under the bus. Oh, all you do is criticize. Bro, I put out videos about black inventors, about one of the first black NASCAR drivers, about one of the first black automotive, about young black students going to Ivy Leagues. I put out a lot of stuff, but the algorithm, you don't see it. So you say, all I do is pick on them. Well, if I'm telling you that you're robbing and stealing and gonna go to jail, how's that picking on you when it's reality? See, you guys get so emotional. You get so much in your feelings, you don't want to hear it and you don't have a coping mechanism. But when my grandparents used to tell me stuff and I was hard-headed, I ended up in the pen. It's a reality, man. See, you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear certain things because it doesn't go along with your narrative. So you get angry and you say it's racist or it's this, but I'm not picking on you. I'm just telling you a reality, man. And if you don't want to hear it, then don't listen to my channel. I've had people say, oh, goodbye, This guy right here, I don't care, man. I don't have to agree with everything somebody says, but when I see somebody who has maybe strong Christian values, family values, community values, support certain things, I stand by it. Black or white or Asian, I stand by it, or Mexican or Hispanic, I stand by it. You don't have to like everything I say. You don't have to agree with everything I say. It's no reason for somebody to want to touch me or harm me, or me want to harm you because I see you walking and you got a cowboy hat on and you look like you might be racist. So what, I should pull over and want to do something to you? How stupid is that? How stupid is it when you start saying that because this guy says something you don't like, he should no longer exist? How ignorant is that? And that's what happens in a lot of these places when people are just randomly shooting each other because you heard this or so-and-so beefing with that. It has, for what? You're going to lose, you're going to take somebody's life, take away your life because you didn't like what a person said. He never touched anybody. I've never seen Charlie Kirk beating up anybody, saying, hey, man, we need to take down all the blacks. Whoa. Everybody stirs up all this white nationalist stuff, right? If you want to stir white nationalists and be whatever you do, that's your business, man. Just leave me alone. I see black people doing black nationalists, black this, and, saying racist stuff. That could be considered racist, but people all ban us, you can say stuff too, and it can be interpreted as racist. It's no different. If you want to all black this, all black that, all black, I don't like these people, they're blah, 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 well, then that's your prerogative, bro. And I can tell you, most of the people saying it, they weren't whips. They weren't beat. They had no interaction with any slave master. And most of them don't even know where their ancestors came from. They don't know if they were enslaved by a white person or a black person. A lot of black slave owners too, man. But that's a whole nother conversation. At the end of the day, man, this thing is not about black or white, liberal, conservative. It's about spiritual, man. And a lot of people are under a spell of a dark, low-frequency energy, and it's causing people to lose their minds, to not be able to rationalize, and to become violent toward each other for no reason. I heard politicians, Nancy Pelosi, go and if you got to use your fist, or Maxine Waters, get your I've heard them say stuff that promotes more violence than Charlie Kirk, and nobody has said anything. I've heard numerous hip hop artists talk about, beefing and getting robbed, and it's always robbed by another person that looks like them. Well, that's because that's where it doesn't matter. Don't make excuses for it. You robbed, it don't matter who. If you're being robbed by somebody that looks like you, a lot of violence, people getting shot, but I've never heard nobody champion any of that as being justified. It's no difference if a black leader or somebody who was an advocate got shot, and you didn't agree with everything they say, you wouldn't like it if you heard white people or Mexican people saying, good riddance. I mean, why is it so emotional for you out there to be charged up because this person said things that you didn't agree with? There's going to be a lot of people in life that say things you don't agree with. A lot of people you have differences with. Every time you have a difference, every time you have a disagreement, it doesn't mean taking a life. It doesn't mean you got to get rid of somebody, they shouldn't exist. That's their right, man. That's what makes us learn and grow. To say, oh, man, because he said, look, man, personally, I look at people and I look like who I am, and people judge me, white or black. I talk to, black people, hey, man, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you talk very proper. You sound like this. You sound like blah, blah, blah. Your voice is high, whatever. Okay. I talk over here. Oh, man, I got to get past the point where, okay, this guy is not, he's not a thug. he presents himself, I'll do business with her. There's always going to be a judgment. Black, white, Mexican, Asian, there's always going to be a judgment, man. You cannot get rid of judgment. But it doesn't mean you take people's life because of judgment. They don't touch you, they don't harm you, they're not messing with little kids. There's no reason for you to take somebody's life. Just because somebody wears a different color, it's happened in the black community for the last 50 years. Different color people have lost their life just walking down the street. Now you're saying something and you don't like the views that it requires somebody to now be violent. Man, this is idiotic, man. And I don't care if you don't like me because I said somebody. People didn't like me because I didn't go along with the whole George Floyd thing. Because I wasn't saying, look, man, I've been in a lot of situations and been in the back of a cop car, all the drama. I've seen police do things, but it doesn't mean that every time I see somebody that's in a police uniform, I'm going to say, die, police, die, pig. It doesn't mean that, man. If I was in the wrong doing, man, look, man, people do their job and, things happen. Sometimes they harass people, sometimes not. But at the same time, they're harassing this guy, but this guy was harassing somebody else in the neighborhood. So he's like, well, the person that I harassed didn't harass me, but I got harassed by the police, but maybe you harassed somebody or maybe you didn't harass somebody. It doesn't mean it's justified if the police harass you. But what I'm saying, the big point is that life has situations, and it doesn't mean that you have to turn those situations into violent situations unless somebody's harming your kids, your family, or you personally. Conversation, dialogue, debating, this is what makes us great. It's just like when you come to America, you pledge allegiance to the flag because your pledge allegiance to becoming unified and understanding that we're a melting pot and the fact that we have a commonality. If you're not doing that, then you don't believe in our values. You create discord, you create separation, you create all these other things that doesn't benefit the country, and that's what we have the problems. And that's the biggest thing I see when people say, oh man, I don't want this, I want that, I want this. Well, if you don't like all this stuff, why are you still here? Find out what country gives you all the stuff you want in life, everything you desire. You could talk shit, you could burn flags, you could do this, you can hurt people, rob, take their wife. Find a country, go there, and call it a day, bro. Renounce your citizenship. But to say that you're mad at me or you want to do something to me because I agree with a white man and I'm always picking on a black culture, it's not picking on somebody when you're doing something, bro. Look, I used to be one of those guys. Oh man, they're singling me out, man. And you know what? I was a little hoodlum, bro. I was into bullshit, fighting in clubs, doing a lot of bullshit. And I didn't see it because I was so entrenched in it. But older people seen things and they used to just look at me. And I would wonder why they would give me that look. There's a couple times, I was in places I shouldn't have been, up to shit. And I remember my grandfather looking at me like, just shaking his head, man. He didn't know how to reach me. He could say something, I still go do the wrong thing. It wasn't, and see, some of you guys, you look at and you talk shit and you look at me and you're like, whatever. But at the end of the day, man, if I am not making you think a little bit, then I'm not doing my job in my videos. And I don't care about the algorithm because I'm just doing this, man, to save a life, man. And to hopefully open up dialogue so that you'll listen to other people to maybe see a different perspective. I worked out with some white boys in the pen. Blacks hated it. They didn't talk to the white guys because they didn't like white people. They were racist. But the white guys, me and them had commonality. Maybe we were into certain things and we hung out. And I caught a lot of shit for that. But the white dudes caught shit from their people. But it didn't matter. I worked out with some Mexican guys. Blacks didn't like it. I had a Mexican celly. Blacks didn't like it. But then they would go to my Mexican celly to ask them for help for legal work. And then my Mexican celly would give me the legal work and be like, because I'm the one, the brains. And they'd be like, look who's asking for help. The black guy who doesn't like me. I've been not liked because I don't conform. And I'm not going to let some dude who's big homie this or OG, I'm not going to sit here and let you preach to me and tell me something unless I feel it's of value. If you don't like what I'm giving, it's not value, then don't listen. But I've had people who have laced me up, black men, white men, and I listen. White guys to listen to it all the time, ex-Vietnam vet. He's crazy. Watch out for that white guy. Man, me and the dude, I learned so much, man. I learned so much from this old white guy, man. Rest in peace, Harold. Heroin addict. Died in prison, man. 30 years, man. 30 years. Put his daughter through Ivy League, Chapman University, and she went on to work in a high-ranking government position, and she used to come see him, but she was always mad at him because of where he was at. He taught me a lot, man, and I had an OG, shout out to Giles, a black guy, older brother, 20 years my senior. He used to tell me stuff, and he used to call me out. He said, why you say nigga? Why you call women bitches? Why you entertain that music? Why you talk like, why you do this? And I didn't have answers. And I used to be like, oh, older dude trying to tell me. I had a lot of issues, man. Chips on my shoulder. Black male issues because I had a shitty stepdad that was black and I wanted to beat his ass when I got big enough. I had a lot of issues. A lot of you guys have a hate maybe towards your dad because he wasn't there. So you blame the white man, you blame this man, you have all these issues, man. And maybe because of your lack of being interact with certain white people, you don't like white people. Understandable. Some white people don't like black people. They haven't met black people that they can like. Mexicans, sometimes they don't want to deal with black people because they think black people are, whatever. I've seen it. Mexican guys, down south, you go to Southern California, very separated. You get locked up. You don't really, and I've talked to Mexican guys on the down. They're like, hey, Big Herc, you're cool, bro. You're different, but, I can't mess with you in here because of politics, bro. You know how it is, but I would holler at you on the street. And I respect it, man. White guys look like skinheads, get to talking. Oh, you from OC, I'm from OC. We get to chopping it up. Next thing you know, hey, man, don't talk to them white boys on the yard. What? Black guys that don't like white guys because white guys in general have been associated with police that have been brutal, and there's no nexus there. There's no connection. They don't like white people. I understand it, man. You grew up in a place where white people, you felt were oppressive and terrorized you because they were police. And maybe you didn't have, any white teachers or white friends or anything like that. I didn't grow up like that, bro. I didn't grow up like that where I just hated white people or, I had an anger. You know what? I didn't even know I was black. And I've said this before until I was in the first grade. I moved to Texas and I was in Galveston. And some white kids called me nigger, and they jumped me, right? Some black kids helped me out. One black kid in particular, he helped me out. He helped me, got him off. He beat him up, and we, start fighting. And I got my clothes all messed up, whatever. And he was just telling me, like, man, you gotta be careful. Don't, you walk home. I walk home with you, and that was that, right? And I never heard the word nigger or anything before. Never heard that, right? In first grade. So maybe first or second, might have been second grade. Anyways, it didn't make me hate all white people because then I had a little white friend, I forgot his name, but he's barefooted. We used to play trucks together, and I'd go to his house. His dad had his stepdad or mom's boyfriend had a train set. I think he drove trucks, and I used to hang out. But like my stepdad, a black guy from Saga, he didn't like me hanging out with little white kids. He had some issues for whatever reason with white people. But I just never had that in my heart, man. It's not like, it wasn't like I was trying to be white or I never judged off of skin. I wasn't really tripping. As a kid, I never trip. So I never had hate for white people. And I had white friends, growing up, third grade. I remember my second grade going to third, this white girl had a crush on me, and I was still in Texas, you know, and, you know, back then it was very, you know, respectful in the sense where Texas was always, you know, you can carry guns out there, you know, people were, you know, different values, and, you know, you used to get paddled in the hallway. But I never really tripped off of being, after that. After I got jumped, it wasn't like I hated all white people. You know, fast forward, living on military bases, white friends, Filipino friends, Mexican friends, Tongan friends, Mexican friends, black friends, and everybody had their own thing. My black friends go to their house, you know, they're listening to Al Green, and you know, they're making gumbo, they're playing gin rummy, they're doing their thing. My white friend, I go to their house, we BMX, they eat, you know, have pancakes in the morning, you know, they're listening to maybe Barry Manilow. My Filipino friends, they having a luau, got the pig in the ground, you know, they got their music, and you know, Chinese New Year, they're gambling, you know, everybody has culture, bro, but I grew up like that, so I never had hatred. And I'm not going to ever allow anybody to make me change my perspective on people. And I'm constantly learning, man. I talk to people all the time. And then, you know, one of my things is I try to talk to people that wouldn't normally interact with a person of my nature. Maybe I see a guy and he looks like he could be possibly a racist, right? White guy. Maybe he has some weird tattoos on him that look like they could be, you know, potentially offensive or whatever. And I'll say, hey, man, I see you putting that weight up. And then they change. Hey, man, you know, they grin, or maybe they don't say anything. But that's life, bro. I'm at a point now, you know, I used to be in environments where people would, I almost lost my life a couple times by people saying something that's whereas, you know, conflicting from another hood or another gang, and I had a gun pull on me. People that look like me, right? I never had a white guy pull a gun outside of like some white police when I was robbing a bank. You know, I was in the wrong, you know, but I've had black guys pull guns on me for wearing a certain color or for hanging out in a certain area. And so, you know, circling back to this Charlie Kirk thing and people saying bigot, this and that, man, look, man, there's always going to be something you maybe disagree with. And I never had a conversation with Charlie Kirk. And, you know, I've hung out with guys who have had, you know, we consider racist tattoos on them, but we've had conversations and I've learned from them. And you got to sometimes wonder why people have these perspectives. And then maybe you try to shed some light on them so that you guys can have a better dialogue together and maybe build. But I don't ever think that a person should lose their life when they haven't done anything to anybody outside of just talking. It doesn't justify like that person losing life. And even like I said, George Floyd, I didn't agree with all the rioting and stuff, but I'm not saying because the man stole something that he should have lost his life. Nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves, I mean, I've been on the ground with a knee in my back. I didn't, just because I did something wrong, don't mean I deserve to lose my life right then. So the thing is, man, there's a lot of things that people just jump on and they start saying shit and they don't go beneath the water and get an understanding and try to really get it out. Sometimes it's painful, the conversations. Sometimes it makes you question your own beliefs and foundations, and maybe you realize that you were in the wrong. But that's life, man. That's a part of maturing as a human being. As you get older, you kind of look at things and you give them more thought before you react. When you're young, you react a lot because you don't have the discipline or the ability to rationalize as well as a person who's had some time on their hands to kind of look at things from a different perspective. But a lot of young people, oh, you know, this guy, that's what he gets, blah, 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 all the negativity. And I'm thinking like, well, what if somebody you liked lost their life from a sniper rifle? Really? From a sniper rifle? Even if it's a stabbing? Why? I mean, Would you like somebody to say that about somebody that you thought were giving you values and giving you hope? Would you like that? Would you praise that? Would you want that person to say, yeah, good riddance? I mean, really? What if it was somebody like all the people saying this? What if it was somebody you liked and it happened? Would you want somebody saying that about you? Even if they don't agree with your person that you looked up to, would you want somebody saying good riddance? Just because a person smokes crack or they're homeless or they're whatever, as long as they're not terrorizing, robbing, stealing, do they deserve to lose their life because they want to live on the streets, or they want to, this guy wants to, walk around wearing red all the time? What if he just likes red? What if that guy likes blue, he likes the Dodgers hat, but he's not a gang member? What if this guy likes wearing green, but he likes the Celtics? What if this person just likes cowboy stuff? What if this person likes to dress like he's a punk rocker, but you think he's like a neo-Nazi, but that's his style? Does he deserve to lose his life? Does that person who wore that outfit with that t-shirt because you didn't like it, you got to take his life? He's saying that he doesn't agree with, transgenderism, or he don't agree with this. He needs to lose his life? Or you say that you support transgenderism, you should lose your life? Come on, man. That's some bullshit, man. I'm not going to go around if a person says, oh man, I support that. I don't agree with certain aspects of a lot of people's political views, but I'm not going to go and start stalking those people to get rid of them. We can coexist. You just don't infringe upon me or touch me, and I have the right to do that. And then, we respect each other. It's about respect, man. To think that you just got to start just knocking people down because they're saying things you don't like, and then you try to justify it. And like I said, a lot of black people, oh man, you're picking on, look, bro, I've had the same thing. And my thing is, man, I went through a painful look in the mirror to how I got to where I was at one of the lowest points of my life. And I could have said, no father, lack of knowing my father, mom young, blah, 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 this, I didn't get the job here. I can blame a lot of people, man, but at the end of the day, it's on me, man, to come up, because there's always a choice. You don't have to pick up the gun. You don't have to go and kick in the door. You don't have to do this. You didn't have to hurt that person that day. You could have kept going because it wasn't that serious, but you chose to do certain things, and there's a consequence to it, and then you might not like the consequence. After you do it, you're like, oh man, I didn't deserve that much time. How much time did you deserve? I felt like, damn, a decade? I didn't like it, but it was a reality, man. And so you have consequences to your actions. You have accountability. And like I said, man, being able to have discussions, share thoughts, interact with each other, and go along our way and not have to worry about getting jumped. It's just like people back in the day that were protesting, and then somebody follow them home because they didn't like their speech, and they murder them. That's not right, man. Because that person was speaking out and saying that they want this for what their people, or they understand this for their beliefs, their whatever it is, religious, racial. They need to get taken out the game. Come on, man. That's some bullshit, man. And to anybody black judging me, man, because I said something, he's a white nationalist. Man, look, I know a lot of people who consider they might be de facto black nationalists. It don't mean I agree with everything they say, because I don't like the hate part. I just don't hate people, man. I don't hate people. I'm not going to go around and looking at everybody, because I know that a lot of people just don't understand a lot of things, man. My mom did daycare growing up, right? Besides living on a military base. And we used to have all kind of little kids my mom would babysit. White kids, black kids, Asian kids. From 9 months, 10 months, all the way up to like probably some of them 6, 7, 8 years old. And I was there, I used to interact with these kids. And I love little kids, man. I think kids are so special, man, so innocent. I couldn't hate no little white baby. I couldn't hate no little Mexican baby. Hate this little Asian baby. Why? I mean, kids are innocent, man. You grow up, you get beliefs programmed into you, but then you unprogram from certain things too. But we have a big issue right now in this country with the divide, the separation, and the anger and the blame game, and people wanting to think that their right is everybody's right, or their truth is everybody's truth, and that's not the reality, bro. Your truth is maybe not my truth. There's multiple truths going on. There's some people who their truth is living on the street in a tent, and other people in a mansion. Some people in a house in the suburbs. Some people in an apartment complex. There's a lot of truth out there, man. But it's not for you to dictate what that person's truth should be. If they choose to, if you want to talk to them, then that's cool. But you can't force them, and you shouldn't oppress somebody else's ability to be able to share in an open environment. That's what free speech is about. You already see what they're doing in England with free speech. You say certain things, that's hate speech. I'm a grown-ass man. How's it hate speech? You don't like it, don't listen. You can't censor what I say, because if I say so, that's all right. Stay over there. I don't care if you said I hate all black people, go back to Africa, we don't want you here. Bro, I don't care. I'm not going to go and run a car into you or try to start shooting. I don't care. Leave me alone. I hear black people, if you white people don't like you, well then just say it and then leave them alone. It doesn't matter, bro. You guys are so caught up in emotions and wanting to do something to somebody. I've never seen a time where grown people, are so caught up in their feelings, and then they'll sit there and say something, and then nobody can say nothing to them. When they say something, it's all right, but someone else says it, take them down. What is that? What rationale is that, man? That's barbaric, bro. That's barbaric, and it's sad. And like I said, man, you're always going to have racist people. You're going to always have ignorant people. I was going back and forth with somebody the other day, and they say you shouldn't argue with a fool, but you're always going to have people who are going to be of a certain cultural status, like Thomas Sowell would say. So not everybody black is a thug, or everybody black is a whatever you want to, you know what I'm saying, the word. It's a cultural thing, man. And the same thing in white culture. You have people who are whatever, then they have people they call them white, you know what? And in every culture they have it. Every culture has it. But at the end of the day, some people mentally are going to be comfortable where they're at, and maybe that's their understanding. Now, you can't force them, like I can't force you to be I can't make you want to go be a doctor and study. I can't make you want to be a lawyer. I can't make you want to go take a trade. I can't make you love somebody or not love somebody. That's your free will, man. That's your free will. And so, opportunities come in different forms. Yeah, some people maybe have more opportunities than some others. And that's just a reality. It's all over the world. There's nowhere in the world where you're going to go and you're going to think, oh, I look like this, I'm going to get this opportunity. It's all over the world, bro. We're born into certain things, and we have a journey while we're here to learn, so that we can grow, and hopefully if we bring kids into the world, we can give them a better experience than what we had. But it doesn't justify taking somebody's life, whether you're for a particular ideology, belief, or value system. We all have those rights, man. That's our free will, man. As long as you're not hurting nobody, as long as you're not running around, forcing people to do stuff they don't want to do against their will, under duress, then, what difference? I mean, I hear people all the time in private talk shit about other races and then go to a function and smile in their faces. I hear it all the time. People do it and then they, and I'm like, damn, weren't you just talking bad about that particular demographic of people? Now you're sitting here breaking bread with them? Oh, that person's different. They're different. That's why sometimes it's good to just keep your mouth shut, because some people will fool you. You think you know them. You think I've dealt with no, and you haven't. Because that person's not like the mold. It's like, not all black people are the same. Not all white people are the same. Not all Mexican people are the same. Not all Asian people are the same. They're not all the same, man. So you can't judge a book by its cover. That's what they want you to do. That's what they do in prison. You're all black. You're all, put them over there. White guy over there. Asian over there. Mexicans over there. Whites over there. Islanders over there. Natives over there. Don't talk to each other, so you don't know that you have a commonality. Yeah, you might hate each whatever. You think you hate this guy, and you get in the hole with him. And the white guy who's a white supremacist or whatever, you start realizing this guy's passing you coffee in the morning. You're hungry, he gives you a soup. But he's a white supremacist, but back on the main line, he can't give you shit. Won't even act like he ever talked to you. You don't understand, man, because you guys ain't never been nowhere. A lot of you guys talking shit. You ain't never been in a hole. You ain't never been somewhere where you're with somebody who doesn't look like you, but you need them for maybe survival. Sad, man. You got a lot of life to live, man, but a lot of ignorance you need to clean up, man. And you can choose to clean it up or not. I really don't care. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. And, if you unfollow, you don't like me, you guys did it with George Floyd. You're doing it with Charlie Kirk. And like I said, neither one deserved to lose their life. And at the end of the day, if you didn't like George Floyd because he was a drug addict, whatever, or you didn't like Charlie Kirk because he said some stuff about DEI, the person still should get the benefit of the doubt to be able to express themselves, live their life, as long as they're not physically hurting somebody else and they're not out here taking other people's lives. So that's how I feel about it. I don't care how you judge me from here on out. I've been doing this for over 10 years. A lot of you guys, I was doing this when you were still, probably peeing in your little underwear. But it is what it is. BigHerc916. Subscribe, share the channel. Don't forget to stop by the BigHerc916 store and pick you up a sticker for your car, or a patch, or a sticker for your laptop, or maybe a beanie, or read one of the many books that BigHerc916 has authored. You know how we do it. I only got one real spanking my entire life. My mom did the best a 14-year-old could do, raising me with love and instilling values that will last a lifetime. I was a straight A student and lived to make her happy. So how did I go astray? A horrible stepdad that stole my self-worth and invoked fear turned me into a person that I struggled to overcome. From skateboarding to selling drugs, gang banging in juvenile hall, I got caught the same way many young promising men get caught up. I struggled to find my identity, getting mixed up in shootouts, crime, and the adult entertainment industry. This roller coaster continued as I juggled college, hustling, and Hollywood, eventually catching a federal bank robbery case. I found redemption in prison while serving a 120-month federal sentence and came out a man on a mission. I became a social media influencer with over 500 million views on YouTube and a life coach mentoring people all over the world. This is my journey against all odds.